Imagine a mountain-sized ship, longer than 5 football fields, carrying 306 living, breathing souls, thousands of tons of heavy metal deep within its belly. And then, suddenly, in the middle of the vast, open ocean, it simply vanishes, as if it never existed at all. No wreckage, not a single lifeboat, not even one solitary body floating on the surface. It was as if the ocean itself opened its mouth, swallowed it whole, and then closed its lips without a sound. To this day, more than 100 years later, that secret still churns beneath the waves, a chilling tale carried by the currents, and no one has ever truly known what happened, or how something so immense could disappear in an instant, without even sending out a single distress call. See, picture this with me. Back in an era when these colossal ships were symbols of power and human ingenuity, a vessel like the USS Cyclops was considered truly magnificent. It was like a floating city, a testament to what mankind could achieve. Launched in 1910 by the US Navy, she was their largest collier, a ship designed to carry coal. Stretching over 540 feet long, she could haul incredible amounts of fuel, making her the very backbone of the fleet. When World War I erupted in 1914, the Cyclops wasn't just a simple coal carrier anymore. She became a vital artery for the American military in the Atlantic, ferrying coal and crucial supplies to every corner, serving the war effort with every ounce of her massive strength. She crisscrossed the Atlantic, each voyage critical, delivering supplies, returning for more, filling and emptying. She was like a beating heart, pumping lifeblood into the veins of the army. Everyone who saw her pass by knew she was powerful, unshakable, a ship that nothing could conquer. Then, in January of 1918, the Cyclops received an incredibly important order. She was to sail to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to pick up a special and, in wartime, absolutely vital cargo, manganese ore. Now, manganese is a heavy metal, and at that time, it was absolutely essential for steel production. Without it, cannons couldn't be properly forged, tanks wouldn't be strong enough to withstand battle. In short, it was crucial for the war to continue. This giant ship, a symbol of strength, was now tasked with carrying an immense load, a cargo that could literally tip the scales of war. On February 16, 1918, the USS Cyclops departed the port of Rio de Janeiro. She was loaded with over 10,000 tons of that heavy manganese, or literally carrying a mountain of iron deep within her hull. Imagine the sheer size of that ship, and then imagine the weight of that cargo. She was practically groaning under the strain, moving sluggishly, like an old woman carrying more than she could bear. Her destination was north, to Baltimore, Maryland, in the United States. It was a long journey, right through the heart of the vast, terrifying Atlantic Ocean. Everything seemed to be going according to plan, or so everyone thought, until the ship reached Barbados on March 3rd. This stop was for refueling and to pick up fresh supplies for the remainder of her voyage. And this is exactly where the first strange threads of this mystery began to unravel. The ship's captain, a man named George Worley, though his original name was Johann Wickman, a German name, began complaining about problems with the engines. He reported that they were making strange noises, that something felt wrong, as if they were struggling. And while the ship was docked, many people noticed that the captain's behavior itself was a bit off. He was tense, irritable, as if the weight of the world rested on his shoulders. There were even hushed rumors, whispers suggesting that perhaps this man's loyalties weren't entirely with America, especially with the Great War raging and his German heritage. But who would believe such a thing back then? Nevertheless, on March 4th, after taking on fuel, the Cyclops left Barbados once more, setting course for Baltimore. And this, my friends, was the last time anyone ever saw her. The last time human eyes ever glimpsed that colossal vessel cutting through the water. A ship of that immense size, at full power, with 306 souls aboard, moved into the horizon until it simply vanished. It was as if she melted into the blue sky, or as if the ocean had swallowed her in an instant. The Cyclops was scheduled to arrive in Baltimore on March 9th. But that day came and went, and the ship never appeared. The next day, and the day after that, still no news. At first, no one was overly worried. Perhaps there was a delay, maybe bad weather. But with each passing day, the anxiety began to mount. A ship of that size, of that importance, couldn't just be late without a reason. By mid-March, the U.S. Navy launched extensive search operations across the entire Atlantic. Ships scoured the waves, planes flew overhead, but nothing, not a single trace. It was as if she had simply evaporated into thin air. After months of desperate searching, on June 1st, 1918, the U.S. Navy made the announcement no one wanted to hear. The Cyclops was lost. Lost with everything and everyone aboard. 306 human beings, all the ship's equipment, all those tons of manganese, or all of it had simply vanished. This was the largest non-combat loss of life in the history of the U.S. Navy. Not in a battle, no, but a loss in the heart of the vast ocean, without a single shot fired, without a storm, without anything that made sense. Imagine the shock, the sheer incomprehensibility of it all. A ship like that, just gone, in an instant. But here's where this story gets truly strange, truly horrifying. It's not just that the ship disappeared. What's truly bizarre, truly terrifying, is that no distress signal was ever sent. None. Not a single SOS left the ship. It was as if the catastrophe happened so suddenly that there wasn't even time for anyone to press a button. And this is practically impossible for a ship of that size, with a trained crew. Even if there was an explosion, there would usually be seconds, precious moments, to send a signal. But there was nothing. Complete, chilling silence. And even stranger than that was the utter absence of any wreckage. A ship of that size, if it sank, must leave a trace. You would expect to find floating wood, pieces of metal, life jackets, anything. They didn't even find a single lifeboat, despite the ship having several on board. 306 people, all gone. Not one body ever floated to the surface, no sign of anyone. It defies belief. It's as if they all evaporated at the exact same moment. And by the way, the area where the ship disappeared is the very same region now famously known as the infamous Bermuda Triangle, a place where many other strange disappearances would occur in the decades to come. What makes this tale even more unsettling is Captain George Worley himself. As we mentioned, he was of German origin, his real name Johann Wickman, and this was right in the middle of World War I. He was known to be a heavy drinker, often irritable, and frequently got into arguments with his crew. Witnesses claimed he changed the ship's course multiple times without informing anyone, and that he was acting very strangely leading up to this final voyage. Could he have done something? Could he have been a spy or sabotaged the ship? But even if he did, why no trace? And why did he disappear too? No one ever knew. But the biggest enigma, the one that elevates the story of the Cyclops beyond a mere accident, is what happened years later. Imagine, in the 1940s, 2 other ships vanished. And here's the kicker. They were sister ships to the Cyclops. Exactly the same design, the same size, the same specifications. The first was named the USS Proteus, and the second, the USS Nereus. Both of these disappeared under incredibly mysterious circumstances, just like the Cyclops. No signal, no wreckage, no trace, nothing. And, get this, both of them were carrying the exact same cargo as the Cyclops, manganese, or this cannot be a mere coincidence. It's as if there's some kind of curse attached to these specific ships, or to this specific cargo, or to this particular region of the ocean. As if some unseen force is lying in wait for any ship of that size, carrying that cargo, ready to swallow it whole in absolute silence. Some have theorized that perhaps the ship suffered a sudden structural failure, that it broke in half in an instant, which would explain the lack of a distress signal and large debris. But even then, something should have surfaced. It's inconceivable that everything simply vanished. And what's more, weather reports for that region at the time indicated that the conditions weren't particularly stormy. There was no hurricane or giant rogue wave reported that could have swallowed her. So what exactly happened? Did the immense weight of the manganese play a role? Did the engines that the captain complained about suddenly fail all at once, catastrophically? Honestly, this story sends shivers down your spine. A ship of that size, that immense, with everything and everyone aboard, simply vanishing without any explanation, without leaving a single piece of evidence behind. It shows you just how fragile we are as human beings against the mysterious power of the ocean, against the unknown that can swallow us in an instant without us even being able to make a sound. To this day, the mystery of the Cyclops remains unsolved. The U.S. Navy still lists her disappearance as missing and presumed lost, categorized under mysterious and unexplained. Each